Hi, I'm Sarah Kaufman-Bradstreet.
And I'm Ryan Kaufman, and this is episode 1 of
Cooking with the Kaufmans.
Cooking with Kaufmans in our home kitchen. Cooking with Kaufmans, having so much fun, yeah!
Today, we're bringing you a Valentine's Day edition, and I think nothing says love like
shrimp pasta.
Yeah, carbs. That's what I'm thinking. So we're gonna get right to it. Ryan's gonna turn on this water and get it boiling. We already did a little bit of pre-boil on it, just so we wouldn't have to stand around and wait for it to boil, because I don't know if I have enough stories for that.
Because boiling water is boring.
And while water is boiling, though, when you're with your loved one on Valentine's Day, you should make a cocktail. So we're gonna start out with our cocktail. So Ryan's gonna bring over, we've got 2 champagne glasses, and this is actually just called a classic champagne cocktail. I think the name is very boring.
We should come up with a better name.
We should change it. Maybe we'll come up with something. So Ryan's going to tell you about the drink.
So this is really simple recipe. You get your champagne flutes and you put a sugar cube in the bottom, and then you use bitters to flavor the drink. Give it a little something extra than just the champagne. I've been buying a lot of bitters recently, and probably the most common is Angostura, and the one we're going to use today. But I've bought a few others, just experimenting. If you're not familiar with bitters are just a aromatic alcohol tincture made of herbs and spices. If you've never used them, they're really good. So I would encourage you to try them out. So just 3 or 4 little shakes in there, and then Sarah's grabbing the champagne.
How long ago did we start using bitters in our drinks? I'm trying to remember.
I think the first time we did was when we were over at Chris and Christine's.
And they made this drink.
And they made this drink for us.
And we were like, what are bitters? We need to start using these. So.
And then since then, I've started adding them to like our gin and tonics. And
ooh, that's really good.
I make a little mixture where I put a lot of fresh squeezed lemons and limes. Oompa! And anyway, I'm sure we'll do an episode about those one of these days.
And if you want to be super fancy,
ooh,
you can do a little swirled lemon peel. But we did not do that today.
We didn't. Our water's almost boiling.
Okay, and our champagne's like boiling too.
Yeah, I know. We might
so we'll have to wait for it to kind of
pour.
pour.
All right, well.
We'll wait for it and then it'll do its thing. Okay, so we are doing, for our pasta of choice, my favorite is fettuccine. And Ryan's favorite, what's your favorite pasta? I was going to guess, but should I guess and see if I'm right?
Okay.
I think it's thin spaghetti.
I don't know if it's my favorite.
Really?
When it comes to spaghettis, I like the thin variety. Yes. But fettuccine is pretty tasty.
It is.
Raviolis maybe.
Okay. Oh, I almost thought about doing a ravioli recipe, but I was like, we're keeping it a little bit simple. So we're going to do fettuccine today. Usually I use all whole wheat pasta when we're buying pasta, but since it's Valentine's Day, we're going wild. So there's going to be nothing nutritious about this. Well, there's some nutrition in the meal, but it's not good for you by any means.
Looks like we have boiling water, so I'm going to throw the pasta in.
And we're going to do 12 ounces, which is about 3/4 of this package because it's a pound. So we are trying to limit ourselves there because our family loves carbs. And if we cook a pound of pasta, we'll eat a pound.
Yeah.
And I'm not even joking around.
It's one of the hacks.
Yeah. So then we'll give those a little zhuzh once Ryan pours me a little bit of drink. I feel like I'm just like cook. So that's how it should be on Valentine's Day, huh?
We've done that a lot. It's one of our favorite things to do. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Tasty.
I like that. So yeah, me and Ryan aren't big on going out on Valentine's Day. We have 5-year-old twins, so it makes it a little bit hard, but we could always get a sitter and go do that. But restaurants are really crowded and
really
a lot of times, expensive. And a lot of times you go to a restaurant and you've never been there and then the food turns out to be not so great and the service is kind of meh and you're just like, we should have just
wish
stayed
we
home.
would have been home.
So we've started doing that. The only drawback for me is that then you have to do dishes, but whatever. All right, so we're gonna start cooking the sauce up. We're making it's kind of an Alfredo sauce because that is my favorite kind of pasta. I just don't eat it very often. So we're gonna do a tablespoon of olive oil. And Ryan's gonna use his magical measuring eyeball. And then a tablespoon of butter because it should just be nice and rich.
And then, while that's getting cut up, we already pre-prepped a little bit of garlic here, but I'm gonna process the rest of this big clove. And we have bought so many garlic gadgets to try to get the peel off of the garlic. And there's no better way still than just crushing it. So you just place it on the cutting board, put your knife over the top, and give it a nice healthy whack. And you can see that it just falls right off.
Peels right off.
It's the best way.
It's total, like, I didn't know that forever, so I would buy the jars of garlic, which actually you don't really want to do, because once you cut into garlic, it loses a lot of its flavor and oils.
I learned that from Bobby Flay.
Oh, nice. I've always thought you look like Bobby Flay, so there you go.
So you want to just put this into like a kind of a fine dice.
Yeah, and I've already diced 3 other ones before we started, so it's 4 garlic cloves. If they're kind of small, beef it up a little bit.
We frequently
add
more garlic than necessary, but if depends on how much you like garlic. We like it a lot, so we tend to put a fair amount.
I was going to start the timer.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to do it here, so it'll take 10 minutes instead, because that's been going for about.
Sounds good.
Okay, the fettuccine Alfredo is going to go for 11 minutes is what it's supposed to go to. We set timers because we forget. And in a real life cooking situation, our children would be down here bothering us, or one of us would have to go off and do something while the other one's taking over. So it's good to have those timers going.
All right, so we're gonna, looks like our oil and butter are all done. So I'm gonna throw the garlic in and give it a good little saute.
And the sun-dried tomatoes are going in.
Sun-dried tomatoes, how much
It was about 6 ounces, and there's a little bit of oil on them. So like 4 to 6 ounces. If you love sun-dried tomatoes, you could put more, because I got like an 8-ounce jar. I like sun-dried tomatoes. If there's too much, I might go a little crazy. So
you want to be careful with garlic and kind of put it on a medium to medium-high heat. If you cook it too much, it'll get a kind of a bitter, kind of not very good taste. So keep an eye on it. Don't let it go too much.
And then we're going to be doing shrimp into this. I bought a pound of shrimp. I went in and said I wanted a 3/4 pound, and then she showed me how much it was, and I was like, put some more in there, because we really like shrimp, and my daughter loves it, so she'll be super stoked to find out we're having pasta. So, if you didn't see what I just did, oh my gosh, I'm going to put it back together. Boop. We have another one, actually. So this shell comes right off. When you buy them from your seafood counter at your grocery store, or if you get the bagged kind, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting the bagged kind.
No.
Sometimes this looks really, really good though, and really fresh when you're at the meat
Chances
counter.
are they're probably
the
same.
Because this said, and we live in Portland, Oregon area, so you'd think we could get fresher. This said it was farm raised from India. I'm not going to lie to everybody.
Nice.
I would prefer it said it was like totally fresh and caught from the Hood Canal, and those would be the bomb.
Which we do get sometimes.
But that'll be a different episode.
So these are peeled and deveined.
Yes. So they've had the vein taken out of them, and then you just have to peel that back. Can this camera see that too? And then you're going to take it, and it's got little legs, and then you're just going to pinch that tail, and off it pops. And there you go.
So pretty simple.
You can leave the tail on if you want to for aesthetic reasons, like looks reasons, but I don't know.
We never do. Sometimes in restaurants you'll see it on there for plating purposes, but it's a pain. You have to take it off anyway.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So all right.
Then if you think
these are ready to go into the pot,
and you're kind of waiting when you're cooking garlic, you're just kind of like smelling it, and that'll let you know like it's ready to go, because you don't want it to get brown.
No.
And you want it to help season the garlic. So
I'm gonna give it another couple of seconds here, and then we'll be ready to go. While I'm waiting, I'll
take a little sip.
Take a little sip.
And to go with this, we're gonna make, because I was thinking as I was meal planning this, I'm like, we can't just eat a whole load of really heavy pasta with shrimp for dinner.
I mean, we could.
We totally could. But I was like, we should have a salad with it. And I was like, so we're gonna make just a classic Caesar salad. I'm not going to make the dressing. It's like so simple, because this is date night at home.
Yeah.
And I think that date night at home should be yummy food that you both really enjoy, but I don't think that it should be too labor intensive, or else you're getting stressed out doing all that. So
be a chill.
Yeah. And maybe not a lot of dishes. Maybe. But I can deal with dishes. Can wait till tomorrow.
All right, I think that's good.
Okay.
And sometimes these ones aren't bad because they were from the deli counter, but if you get the frozen kind, sometimes there's a lot of extra moisture on them. So sometimes I'll just like grab a little paper towel and get a little bit of extra moisture, so you don't have that extra water in the pan as you're cooking.
We totally had those new bowls from your dad. We should have put the shrimp
Oh, I
in
know,
those.
we should have. So the shrimp, you're usually looking to see if it's going to turn kind of an orange on each side when they're done. For this recipe, we're going to add the half and half, and so we're going to undercook them a little bit in the pot, in the pan, and then they're going to finish cooking as they simmer in the cream sauce.
So as we were kind of getting ready to make this episode, we were talking about like what was the first meal we ever made for each other. So do you remember what the first meal you ever made for me was?
I think it was stir fry. Back when we were first dating, I was really into my stir fries.
I think so too. That's how I remember it. I think it was too. I think we made it. Well, we were going to make it together, but I decided I was going to act like I didn't know how to cook. and
wait a second. You were going to act like you didn't know how to cook? You were going to act like that for like 6 months?
For when we were first dating, yeah. Because I knew I wanted a guy that really wanted to cook. So I was like, I'm going to see how long I can ride this wave. I don't know if I'm right on this at all. But the meal that I remember making that you loved a lot when we were first dating was that pork chops over stuffing with the mushroom soup and the cheese. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And we would make it, we used to sail, and we would make it on our boat because it was all about the one-pot meals on your boat. So that was an easy, yummy meal. But it was totally just a can of cream of mushroom soup. Hey, your little enchilada casserole was like a can of cream of mushroom soup too.
It was.
We've come a long way because we rarely cook with a can of cream of mushroom soup now.
We don't.
And when we do, we're both always kind of like, that's not as good as we remember it was.
It's kind of like when we had our Dinty Moore beef stew with our backpacking.
Oh my gosh, we were backpacking one time. We didn't know what we were doing, so we packed in a canned food, which is totally not what you should do. But we brought in Dinty Moore beef stew and some chicken and noodles. And
we were hiking in jeans.
And we were like, this is the most delicious thing ever. We're going to get this when we get home. And we did. We did, and it was terrible. Turned out it was only really good because we were starving.
So I'm going through and I'm just flipping all the shrimp over. With the big shrimp that we got for this, you kind of have to monitor and flip them or they'll get kind of too cooked on one side. I think this is probably looking good in a second to put in the sauce.
Add in the cream.
Do we need to put this in?
Yes, so we're going to sprinkle in a 1/4 teaspoon of the red pepper flakes. You could go spicier if you want. In all reality, this is probably going to be our family dinner tonight, and our kids don't love spice a ton, but I think we can get away with that.
1/2 teaspoon of this?
And then 1/2 teaspoon of the paprika. And I kind of like to let my seasonings kind of toast up in there before you would let them go in the sauce. It'll just make them more flavorful. So in my special spin on my Caesar salad today is going to be that I'm adding some kale because it's very, very healthy. It's super green. The greener the green, the better it is for you.
Just like spinach. I found out spinach and kale are almost equivalent in their healthiness.
Yes. And, so since I'm feeding my sweetie so much pasta and carbs, I figured I should save them a little bit with some kale tonight.
It's very nice of you.
Isn't that nice? But then I'm going to put Parmesan cheese and croutons all over it.
Moderation.
For one day, and then we'll go back to reality tomorrow.
I'm going to check on
Wait, so I'm going to
pasta.
sprinkle. I totally buy the bag, okay? I don't get too fancy. You can do it the other way. We're just kind of busy people. So you do have to go through the bag stuff, and if there's big chunks of stems, you need to take those out because they're really bitter and chewy and just bleh. They're not.
So you're looking for al dente on the pasta, which is this kind of toothsome.
Yes.
A little bit of bite to it, and then that was a little bit too much bite, so it probably needs another minute or so, even though our timer's about to go off. Should I put this in it?
Yes. And we're going to put in 1.5 cups of half and half. Half and half is half cream, half milk. Okay. So if you're wanting to go lighter, you could totally do this with skim milk. I've made Alfredo sauces with skim milk, and it works fine. The only thing I've not had success with is like soy milk and
Almond milk.
Almond milk. That's not right. I haven't been able to figure it out. I think if you're going to do that, you have to do a cauliflower cream sauce or a cashew cream sauce or something. You have to figure that out. So this is going to be our greens for our salad. Super basic with the Caesar salad. That's why I chose it. And then as that kind of boils and thickens the way we want it to.
I'm just going to turn this up on high just to get it simmering, and then isn't there a nice acronym for that from Rachel Ray?
Bring to boil, reduce to simmer.
Yeah.
BTB, RTS.
Doesn't sound like a good acronym, but yeah, bring to boil, reduce to simmer.
And I totally got these yummy shaved Parmesan. Ooh, it's like, I don't know, they're the thicker ones. They're gonna, if you were like newly dating somebody, this would make them, they'd be like, whoa, you made this salad? It's so fancy. I think they would think that anyway.
Did you shave these yourself?
I did. And then be like, no, I didn't. I took the easy route. I'm sure shaved ones taste a lot better. But
Here. Still needs a little more.
yeah. I had a roommate in college, and she might actually watch this. She would throw her the pasta into the wall, and when it would stick, she was like, it's done. So we had a whole wall in our kitchen of pasta noodles that were dried. She had like pasta every
And
night.
you'd never take them off?
We would eventually, like, you know, but...
You're in college.
Okay, are we ready for cheese?
Probably.
Okay.
I was going to check on the pasta.
So kind of what happens with pasta is all of a sudden at the end, it's all coming together and you gotta, and there's this frantic moment. So if you're trying to parent and like the dogs are barking and your bird is squawking and a lot can be happening. Is it still not?
It's like it's the
But
magical pasta that doesn't
just
want to boil.
go with it and know that it's gonna be okay and it's all gonna come together and everything's very forgiving when you're cooking. So try not to freak. Especially if you're cooking this for someone and you're newly dating.
Yes,
You
no
don't wanna
freaking
freak.
out.
You just want to be like, I'm just stirring around my cheesy sauce. Like I'm like, ooh, this came together. I'm gonna turn off the heat. It's totally fine. And then it'll be ready for the pasta, okay? Because the pasta is not quite done. It's being finicky. What's up with you, pasta? Get your stuff together.
And I'm gonna reserve a little bit of pasta water so that we can add it to the sauce.
Yes.
Is that what we're doing? I guess
if we feel like we need to.
I can just add a little bit right now. Just kind of gives it a little bit of.
I think our kids might even want this salad because it's got croutons and cheese on it.
All right, I think I'm gonna call it on the pasta.
Okay.
I'm gonna go strain this.
And I'm gonna chop up some fresh basil to add in when we stir in the pasta. You can use dried basil. If you're gonna use dried basil, I'd put it into the sauce right now instead of stirring it in once the noodles are going in. I just think fresh basil, it's really gonna make your date for Valentine's Day think that you're pretty awesome in the kitchen.
And the flavors are just.
And the flavors.
They're way better.
We were successful one year at growing our own basil, but
And I'm just gonna add just a splash of olive oil in here so that the noodles don't stick. And then I'm just gonna transfer them right back into the pot with the sauce.
and you should probably tear your basil.
No.
So, we're gonna stir that in right when we put all the pasta in there, right?
What the
The basil?
Yeah.
You think that looks like a good amount? I'm gonna put like 2 more big leaves in there. And then you can also do the basil. You can make it into fancy ribbons if you kind of, if you take a leaf like this and then you roll it up. You could do this if you're doing like a salad. And then you just slice those really thin. And then you're going to end up with pretty little ribbons. So if you wanted to do that, you could. But either way.
All right, I'm just gonna stir it up, combine everything. You want to toss in the basil?
And then did you have some pasta water or did you already?
I already put it in.
Okay. And then I put a little sprinkle of cheese in there. Oh, we never made our second drink.
Oh, it's gonna happen right now. We're gonna have a bite of our pasta and a drink of our drink. And
Are we trying the orange bitters?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to mix too much with the regular?
I don't know.
We'll find out. Can't go wrong with something with a little bit of alcohol in it. If you're a Kaufman.
Or our friends. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Bartender error.
Oh no.
Okay. Well, let's. We should taste and then.
Yep.
And then drink a little drink and say goodbye to everyone.
Yes. Oh, and so I was thinking too, some people might be like, ooh, pasta on a date? Like, you don't want to, it can get really messy. So you got to know how to twirl your pasta, right? So I'm going to try
Okay, we need to get some basil, some noodles.
see if Ryan twirls his.
Now that you said that, of course I am.
Whoa, dude.
Oh, I know. I'm like Guy Fieri or whatever. I'm like, I take the biggest bites ever.
Ah!
Get in there.
Oh, okay. I'm going to try to go with just like one noodle. Oh my gosh. Did you get a shrimpy too?
Mm-hmm.
Is it terrible or is it great? Ha!
It's pretty good. The shrimp is well cooked and you get the cream sauce and the little bit of the red peppers in there just add a nice little kick to it.
And it's not too much.
No, not at all. Like, I think our kids are going to be able to eat it. Oh, and the tomatoes. That's the other flavor.
Getting that little sweetness in there. Mm-hmm. Ooh, this is good, guys. You're going to love this if you make it. So if you make this and you love it, give us a shout out below in the comments. If you have any questions, put them below in the comments. And if you're looking for more recipes as we cook them, follow us, click subscribe, and then you'll keep getting notifications every time we get a new video up.
Thank you for watching.
Have a great night and happy Valentine's Day.